under a minute. It sounds like everybody's ready anyway. So we will call the December 19th City Council meeting to order. Ms. Margie, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Lyda? Dr. Middlebrooks?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Posey?
Here.
Mr. Shaw?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here. Mr. Murphy has requested to do the invocation again. Margie, we may have to throw in on just keep you in practice, but not tonight. So if we could stand for the invocation and then Mr. Mosher will lead us in the pledge.
We'll let us bow our head. Oh, gracious Father, thank you so much for another great day. Thank you for the season of the year where we spend time with family and friends. I pray that as we travel back and forth and come from different states and go to different states, that many families are safe on their travel. I pray for the many families that are in the hospital that fight terminal illnesses and multiple things. Just thank you for everything you have done and the reason for the season. These are many blessings I pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next, everyone should receive copies of the minutes for the December 5th regular meeting and the December 15th work session. If so, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes
Is that with or without reading?
without reading.
All right. Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Reports. So we start off with the mayor, who's in deep thought right now. I can go first if you'd rather. If there's something you need to settle, Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, our city is blessed to have many people that volunteer for the various boards that we have. And tonight I'd like to introduce Jennifer Peace. Jennifer, you mind coming up? We have an appointment available on the Planning and Zoning Board, and I had the opportunity of interviewing a number of people for this position, and I interviewed Jennifer, and she is just an exceptional individual, a civil engineer, has a great vision for our city, lives in our city, and she's here tonight with her husband, Scott. Thank you for giving her up for a few years. We appreciate that. So I would like to ask for your concurrence in voting for her as our next position on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes, sir. I believe we all received copies of her resume, which looked very impressive to me. I know I spent a few years on planning and zoning, and by the time you're done, I'll already be gone. So I'm going to say good luck now. With that, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second for concurrence. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I appreciate the opportunity and thank Mayor Mercado for appointing me, and I look forward to serving the citizens of the city of Hoover. Appreciate it.
Let's get this.
I was just saying her son Crosby was a great kicker for Crane Park as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've heard the mayor introduced probably about 30 times since this term has started. Well, I've already started now, so maybe well done. Every time he's been introduced as Mayor Mercado. I've known the mayor for 40 years, and it's Mercado. So it's okay. So we all know now. I want to take a point of personal privilege for just a moment. Thursday night, I talked about a change in policy for the council when it comes to first and second readings, and I think I need to expand on that a little bit. Historically, presentations have always been made at the second reading just before a vote. I've always felt that, one, it didn't give the council enough proper information in public, and secondly, it didn't give the public much opportunity at information. And so I brought up Thursday night that from now on, we're gonna have any presentations at the first reading. Now, this will not create an opportunity for the public to get up and ask questions, because this is gonna be an educational time. And then it's everybody's due diligence to move forward from there until the second reading, after which a very short representation will be made, and then any adjustments, like having met with neighborhood members and things like that, or any small adjustments. And then that would be the time for public. But then it also gives you between 2 weeks and a month to contact all 7 members of the council. And we may be able to answer questions that may keep you from feeling like you need to come up and speak. You know, that would be a great opportunity. But one thing I want to make sure that everybody understands is that no deliberation should or will occur prior to the holding of the public hearing, which is always at the second reading. And then after that, there would be a vote. So I hope that I've explained that a little bit more. And when we don't have public comments after that presentation, I hope you understand why. Because that should occur at the public hearing itself. And this gives everybody an opportunity to come from a more educated position on this subject, rather than people being very emotional at the second reading, because very little information has been disseminated, except maybe through the press or something like that. So I hope y'all understand. With that, we will move to item 6, Resolution 5509-16. Mr. Corley?
Yes, this resolution amends the city's budget for the year ending September 30, 2016 to provide for the purchase of land at Interstate 459 and South Shades Crest Road for the Ross Bridge Parkway Extension Interchange, and to provide for certain other year-end adjustments.
Okay. Yes, sir. It's not yes, sir, number 6. And there are a fair number of other things, and one of them's about $2.5 million that's going to be going to helping to refund the city's medical program. The city is self-insured, and we need to, Dr. Lopez, if I get anything wrong, you tell me. We need to move some funds to rebalance that program, correct?
Actually, what this is doing is budgeting for what the actual expenditures ended up being.
Okay. So, any questions from the council?
Doctor, any change to that amount from last year? Was there an increase?
There was an increase. I don't know the exact number, but it was an increase. We tend to have to do this at the end of the year just because it's hard to anticipate what the exact, because it is based on our actual claims.
Thank you.
We still anticipate having at least around $1 million in retained earnings for that. So.
Any other questions? Another thing that I believe is included in this is the final transfer of funds from the previous budget over to capital. Mr. Yeager, would that be a question for you?
No, it would be for Dr. Lopez.
Okay, Dr. Lopez. How much money was transferred from the previous year over to the coming year's budget whenever we get to it.
From memory, I think it was closer to 16 million, but Mr. Yeager might be able
He
to
should
tell me
have
if that
said-
is correct.
He's happy with your response. All right, any questions from the public? Nothing else from the council? Oh, we got one in the back. If you'll come down and give your name and address, please.
Come down.
Yes, sir. Have to be able to record that you were here and where you stay and. Yeah, how about right before you get started, let's go ahead and get our motions out of the way because that's really the point that we get to.
Mr.
discussing.
President, motion to approve resolution number 5509-16.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If you would please give your name and address, please.
My name is Fred Herman. I'm at 121 Cobblestone Lane in Hoover. And I was just coming up for a point of clarification because I thought that he read item 7, and I thought you were discussing the fiscal year. So I just want to make sure that.
We're talking about amending the fiscal budget that ended September 30th.
Correct, and not the Shades Crest purchase yet.
Not quite yet.
Thank you.
Sit right here, because it's not far behind.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, nothing else from the council? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, now we'll move to item 7, resolution 5514-16. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement with USS Real Estate to purchase approximately 31.3 acres of property off of South Shades Crest Road for a price not to exceed $2 million and to spend up to $100,000 for expenses related to the development of such property.
All right, take a motion.
Mr. President, a motion to approve resolution 5515-16.
That is 14.
14, sorry, sir.
Yes.
I'm in that 5514-16.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any questions from the council?
Mr. President, I do want to make one mention that we have a lot of detailed discussion about much of this agenda during our work session, so if we don't go elaborate on certain topics, it's not because we're not discussing it, but we have quite a bit of discussion in the work session about these items.
I guess I would like to say that Mr. Green and I have participated in a number of work sessions over the past few years, and we've gone from about 15 minutes to averaging almost 2 hours. So I think we're getting a lot more information out there. I've always felt that if you're trying to beat the clock, then we're headed the wrong direction. You know, if you're not improving, you're dying. And all of us, including the mayor, are working hard to move the city forward. Any other questions? No questions? Yes, sir.
I have one question, Mr. President. What's the next step? I missed the work session. So what, if this is approved, what's the next step? How quickly will that happen?
So, Mr. Shaw, the next step would be to return to the Metropolitan Planning Organization and begin to re-engage in the approval process there. Pull back out that 7, which was at this point in time the most preferred alternate design. Make sure that that's still a possibility or the most feasible design, and then also begin to work on an additional parcel acquisition.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And Mr. Shaw, if we are able to use that previous plan, we'll end up saving about $300,000 that had already been spent. Anything else from the council? Yes, sir. Name and address.
Fred Herman, 121 Cobblestone Lane.
It's official now. So.
Thank you very much. When we first purchased our house about 10 years ago, I've been in conversations about this interchange with Mr. Law off and on for the past 10 to 12 years. I've spoken to some of you guys more recently about that interchange. When we first heard that it might be coming along, part of the reason we heard was that South Shades Crest interchange had been offered up as an option that had been turned down by the Department of Transportation, and that it just didn't meet their criteria. The primary reason that we heard about that was that it was too close to the Highway 150 interchange, that they required a minimum of, say, 2 miles between interchanges on the highway system. I've been very recently in touch with AlDOT, matter of fact, to find out if those rules are still the same. What they now have listed is that the interchange is only need to be a mile apart, which would bring South Shade Crest back in as a probable option. And I would think that potentially with the cost it would take to build that entire new interchange in this new design, you could potentially get Parkwood Road as one interchange in addition to South Shades Crest for possibly the same cost. And I'm only bringing that up because this starts a process, and I think it's a possibility that someone should take a look at and just see what those numbers look like, if it's a possibility with the Alabama Department of Transportation, and whether or not we could move that direction instead. I think that it could offer some possibilities of alleviating some of the stress on 150 that we're seeing and not hurt our neighborhood.
A good portion of this would be federal monies. Obviously, they would be funded through ALDOT. But we're probably looking at an 80-20 between federal monies and local funds. As to the South Shades Crest Road Bridge, that's your recommendation?
It's just something that I've been looking at. Again, I'm not a city engineer. I don't know a lot about traffic patterns, but I do see, talk about South Shades Crest influencing the traffic on 150. This Brock's Gap side of the interchange is to alleviate that. You've got an existing bridge right there that would take care of getting those South Shades Crest folks off of 150. By using Parkwood Road, you'd have an avenue for the Lake Cyrus folks to come in from their backside to get on 459 and alleviate more traffic off of Highway 150.
So
Again,
you recommend Parkwood or South Shades Crest?
both, as an alternative to just a single. If you look at what's going on with Ross Bridge and just the development that's going on up there, it seems like we continue to add more and more traffic to that Ross Bridge Parkway that's coming through. I'm looking at, between 5 and 10 years down the road, how does this one interchange alleviate that problem of all that additional development that's going to come on, versus if you ended up with 2 interchanges and possibly other avenues for those folks to get to 459 instead of just a single roadway through there. Again, it's just something that I thought I'd bring up and say, it sure would be nice if we could take a look at that as an alternative.
Yes, sir. And I know that you and Mr. Bryce are in communication as well, so.
Correct.
This is gonna be a very, if we're successful as a city, this is gonna be a very long process. We could be talking as long as 20 years, possibly, or it could be as short as 10 years. I don't know if it'd be any shorter than that.
Sure.
But it's always good to stay in touch, so. thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Move to resolution 5515-16. Mr. Corley.
Yes, this resolution accepts those portions of Ross Bridge Parcel H set forth in the application for acceptance of public improvements within the road right-of-way submitted to the city by Daniel Ross Bridge LLC for perpetual maintenance by the city of Hoover. These requested improvements, namely the base, binder, seal, curbs, and gutters, storm sewers, sidewalk, and street signs, all located within the public road right-of-way, have been inspected and approved by the city's building inspections department.
All right, sir, looking for a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 5515-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Wyatt, do you have anything you'd like to add tonight?
No, sir, Mr. President, just, it's approved, been inspected, approved, and hadn't heard any complaints. Everybody's happy with the road work and the sidewalks in that neighborhood.
All right, thank you, sir. Any comment or questions from the council? Anything from the audience? This is basically an end-of-the-road housekeeping measure when new development is ready for the city to take over responsibility. Nothing from the audience. We have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, we have resolution 5516-16. Mr. Corey.
This resolution authorizes the establishment of 2 checking accounts with PNC Bank for the management of the Hoover Metropolitan Sports Complex. This resolution further appoints Mayor Frank V. Brocato, City Clerk Margie Handley, Jason Clement, and Dev Pathik as authorized signers on said accounts.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Motion to approve resolution number 5516-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mayor, I don't know that you have had the opportunity to sign on checking accounts that had this much money in your entire life. I used to have to steal, when he was a captain, I used to have to steal money from when he would buy lunch just to pay his house dues, to pay for ketchup and mustard.
Nothing's changed.
Any questions from the council? This is, like we said, it's just gonna be checking accounts for the Hoover Metropolitan Complex. And I'm assuming that one of these checking accounts eventually is gonna have someone from SFM on it as well. Any questions from the audience? Don't see any. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Now we've got two resolutions, 5517-16 and 5518-16. Mr. Corley, we'd like to take these in unison, please.
Yes, I'll read both. 5517-16 approves the plans of the project submitted to the city, which are now on file in the office of the city clerk, and the location of this project for roadway lighting along Highway 31 from the Cahaba River Bridge to Patton Chapel Road. This resolution further grants to AlDOT the full use and access to the dedicated widths of any existing streets for the construction of the project, and allows AlDOT to close and barricade the project as needed for construction. This resolution states that the city will maintain the project area as provided in the resolution. And then resolution number 5518-16 approves the execution of the project agreement for installation and/or operation and/or maintenance of the traffic control signals and/or roadway lighting by Mayor Frank Bricato. This project is called the roadway lighting along US 31 from the Cahaba River Bridge to Patton Chapel Road project.
All right, looking for a motion, please.
Mr. President, motion to approve resolutions number 5517-16 and 5518-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comment or question from the council?
Mr. President, this too is an 80-20 project?
Mr. Westover?
Yes, sir. It is 80-20.
Any other questions from the council? Anything from the audience? Nothing from the audience? With that, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Moving along to resolution 5519-16, Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Frank Bricato to execute an agreement with SIA Construction Company to extend the notice to proceed deadline for bid package 2A, Hoover Recreational Complex Civil Package, bid number 02-16-2A until March 1, 2017.
All right, need a motion?
Mr. President, motion to approve resolution number 5519-16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Rice, what is the value of this package?
I believe it's an $8 million grading package.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed nay, the ayes have it. Next, we have, looks like an ABC application. Mr. Corley.
Yes, this is a motion to approve the ABC application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only for Aria Investments Inc., which is the Sunoco at 1537 Montgomery Highway. This is a change in ownership on a previously approved site.
Is the applicant here tonight? Just asking. Mr. Shaw, I believe this comes under your purview. Yes.
I don't recall this. Did this come to Tuesday? Yeah, no, this is Sunday.
I'm just
If
looking
it
for
did,
a motion.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you want to comment on it.
It's a previously approved site, so it didn't get to the It's
Bob?
just simply the application.
I guess I would move that we approve the ABC application for Hoover Sunoco, 1537 Montgomery Highway.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the council? Any from the audience? Having none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Moving to a motion to approve an ABC application, Moss Rock Tacos and Tequila. Mr. Corley.
Similar change in ownership on a previously approved site, which was previously Food at 616 Reserve Parkway, Suite 112.
I would move that we approve this ABC application to Moss Rock Tacos and Tequila.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is the applicant here tonight? Just wondering if we're gonna have more tacos or tequila. Any questions from the council? Any from the audience? Having none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We have a first reading of ordinance 17-2317. Mr. Corley.
Yes, this ordinance declares that certain office space located in the city's public safety center is not currently needed for public or municipal purposes and will not be needed for at least the next 3 calendar years. This ordinance declares that it is in the best interest of the public and the city of Hoover to lease this space to the National Association of School Resource Officers for good and valuable consideration, and authorizes Mayor Frank Mercado to execute a lease with NASRA therefore.
This being the first reading, the second reading and consideration for adoption will be Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017. Is Mo here tonight? There you are, way in the back. Do you have any type of presentation you'd like to make tonight?
Do you want me to make another one?
Well, most of these people weren't here Thursday, but I try to keep it, maybe 3 minutes while he's coming down. This is Lieutenant Mo Kennedy, retired from the Hoover Police Department. He also helped set up the School Resource Officer Program at Hoover City Schools, and ultimately was asked to take over the National Association that dealt with the same programs, and because of that, he was able to bring that association to Hoover and keep him out of the cold winds of Minnesota.
That's right.
Lieutenant?
So thank you very much. I'm a retiree of the Hoover Police Department, and I'm now serve as the Executive Director for the National Association of School Resource Officers, and proud to have that organization based here in Hoover. We're actually an international association, and we provide training and membership services to school-based police officers all over the country, and our goal is to train them how to work in schools properly. And of course, it's been a very successful program here between Hoover Police Department and Hoover City Schools. We have a national board of 20 directors from all over the country. We have over 40 instructors on staff, and I have myself and 4 other full-time staff members that work out of our office here in Hoover. So Mr. Smith's correct. I was on my way to St. Paul, Minnesota until we gained office space here in Hoover. So it's nice to stay home. I've lived here in Hoover since 2001 and appreciate this opportunity very much.
And if you could just, very quickly, talk about the lease has no monetary value to the city, but there is a lot of in-kind opportunity for both the city and the school system.
Yes, sir. In the lease, we're providing over $25,000 of in-kind service to Hoover Police Department to continue to train those officers and have them come to our conference. We're also including in that a large sum of training for Hoover City Schools personnel to train them in all kinds of school safety procedures and techniques. We're actually hosting a National Leadership Summit here in Hoover at the Winfrey Hotel, the Hyatt Regency, in May, on May 8th and 9th. And we do a lot of our trainings here in Hoover, so we're glad to bring folks into the city as well.
I believe this is a very, very good program. The in-kind for the school system is new for the coming year and the years to follow. So I believe this was a great negotiation by the mayor and his team. And like I said, the second reading and any discussion, and a vote will be held January 3rd. Should you have any questions, I'm sure that any member of this body would be happy to talk with you or communicate back with you prior to that time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Item 15, we're going to have a public hearing to consider request of CTDTS LLC for conditional use approval to allow the development of a family entertainment center known as Circus Tricks. Mr. Corley, I'll let you finish this out.
Family Entertainment Center known as Circus Tricks to be located at 6009 Tattersall Drive in Tattersall Park. The property is owned by EBSCO Industries in the Zone C2 Community Business District. This is PZKC-1116-14.
All right. For the purpose of conversation, well, first we have to have our public hearing. So do we have any questions or comments from the council first?
Mr. President, we have discussed this a little bit in the past. One thing I would say, anybody not familiar with this business, it is a trampoline business where it is, room full of trampolines. And I know when you talk about planning and economic development, this place full of trampolines is going right next to a emergency room, standalone emergency room. And I think that kind of stuff doesn't happen by accident. So there is a little bit of economic planning there. But this highlights part of the issue that we've talked about down 119, where we have an area that's very close proximity to some of the residential areas, but it doesn't fall under a PUD. It falls under really our normal zoning laws and the 280 overlay district. So this is something we're going to have to, and the owner has expressed an interest to sell that land, and there's more there. So it's something that's going to keep coming up, and so we're going to have to get very familiar with those standards, I think, as we move into this and how that works. So
the standards he's referring to, I'm sure, is the Highway 280 overlay, which is an agreement that all the municipalities from Homewood all the way down, I don't know, does it go over the mountain, Mr. House, or does it stop
Stops
there?
there.
To where all these cities have agreed in nature the type of zoning that would be allowed for various businesses within this quoted overlay. I know a public hearing should start with comments from the public, but I believe that the comments shared by Mr. Shaw and possibly anybody else may help lead to questions that you may have before you come down. I understand we have a presentation.
Yes, thank you for having me here. I do have a presentation. It's a short presentation, and generally I was going to see if there were any comments before I made the presentation, but
I think you probably do better.
I can do the presentation quickly, and then we can.
Mr. President, can we give his name and address?
Yes, sir. If you could
Stand up here.
provide your name and address, please, for the record.
My name is James Bell. I am from 2723 East Londonderry, Fayetteville, Arkansas, but I'm a representative of CTBTS LLC. So,
Arkansas.
yeah.
That was a trip.
So, I walked
How-
fast.
How are you associated with the project?
I'm essentially the project manager.
All right. All right. I guess we will see the presentation, and then we'll open the public hearing for comments from the audience.
As soon as we have. Never know when to start this. There we go. So just so everyone knows, Circus Tricks is the largest operator of trampoline parks throughout the country. We have 30 locations throughout the U.S. Actually, the one in Birmingham is just down the street from the one we're proposing. And it's about 18,000 square feet, where the one we're proposing is 30,000 square feet. And what we think is the benefit for the city is increased tax revenue. But the thing to remember about these is it's 30,000 square feet, and it's not just trampolines. It has parkour, it has these climbing. If you're familiar with American Ninja Warrior, it has those kind of courses. They're becoming less trampolines and more about some of these features that have really caught on with, I'm not sure, the kind of extreme athlete group. And so But the kids seem to love them, and we've outgrown the 18,000 square foot one, and so we're looking to expand to the 30,000 square foot. Some of the things that has are the trampoline basketball courts, the warped wall. That's something you see on the American Ninja Warrior, as well as the dodgeball is typical, rock climbing. They have all kinds of features that we like to. So it's not just trampolines. Many of you know it's 280 and 119 in the Tattersall development. This is kind of the landscape plan. And I know some people in the audience here could probably speak to it if there's any questions about that. But we're looking to have a nice landscape area. This is kind of a plan. You see some of the features. I don't have a pointer, but it's set up for the parties, the large area of trampolines there, and then you see on the side there some of the ninja courses and the other features, the activities that are involved with it for the kids and others to enjoy. Some kind of renderings, architectural renderings of what the building might look like. Unfortunately, we don't have the landscaping in there, but and just it's really about getting the kids out in front of the TV and into active activities that they can do. So,
What type of revenue might the city expect to gain from a facility like this?
that is a great question. In terms of tax revenue, I do not know off the top of my head. I would have to get back to you on that.
Mr. Lopez, do you have any thoughts about that? He had brought up helping the city financially, and I was just wondering, is this considered a professional service that's non-taxable?
It depends. There would be probably a retail component where you'd be selling things. If you were selling food or anything, there'd be a small restaurant component, but also then maybe some admission tax and sales tax. I haven't looked at this operation. This is the first time I've seen it myself, so I couldn't actually make a projection. However, there would be different components of revenue that we have.
Something very similar across the street at the old Staples, I believe. How are they being currently handled?
Right now, we've got the application on it. They have those components I've talked to you about. Basically, they give us the projections and we work off since they're actually not in the operation yet. Certainly, if the land is improved, you would have a property tax component also additionally. So there would be various taxes that are had. As far as projection, I do not have one. Basically, I haven't spoke to developers. We have not got an application or any projections from them yet.
All right, thank you. Mayor, do you think the city might be able to work with St. Vincent's and Brookwood to get a finder's fee for all these ERDs? Kind of a baited field, I think they are.
That would only, Mr. President, that would only be if the council had a council night at this
Council
facility.
night. The medal in my back says I will be scorekeeper. Any questions or comments from the council?
Mr. President, your current facility is not in the city of Hoover.
No, it is. I believe it's Birmingham.
It's in Birmingham.
I believe, even though it's really just down the street, I believe it's
half
Birmingham.
the size.
Yes.
Do you have any tax income projections on that facility?
Since I'm not on the operation side, we're helping them develop them throughout the country. I could probably, technology is always great when it comes to presentations. I could probably find out some of that information if you would like it. I could probably find some and get that to you.
Okay.
Should we need it?
Do you expect to maintain your other location, or are you going to close it and move to the new spot?
No, it would be moving down here. We wouldn't have two locations next door to each other.
Any other questions from the council? Any from the audience? Ms. Ludwig? Nothing? Somebody's done a really good job. No other comments?
I will tell you this.
You have to come down. Ms. Ludwig is lovingly called by some members of the council as Mama Sue.
My name is Mary Sue Ludwig,
and I live at 3500 Shamrock Place in the Greystone community. And this development backs up to our subdivision. We have met with the company out of Arkansas. We have also met with the management with EBSCO. As most of you will hear and have heard, we are not happy with what is going on in this area. This was supposed to be an upscale, small Mountain Brook Village in the beginning. It's been abandoned. The property is being sold off piecemeal without a master plan. I will tell you that this company has been very cordial, has been in touch with us, and Mr. Lopez, there is not to be any food sold in this area or drinks either other than out of a vending machine. So there'll be no income from that. This development will back up to the Blue Rain car wash, which we were very much against, but once again, we've been able to work out our differences. I believe that these people are sincere in wanting to develop a quality facility for the area. I think it's going to remain to be seen what happens there, but my board of directors for the Greystone GRA, Greystone Residential Association, we discussed this and felt like that this is probably quality. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else from the public? Anything else from the council?
Just one question. I saw the architectural renderings of the building itself. Will you be able to supply any landscaping, or how will it look on the outside? Any tree cover or greenery? Or?
So this is the landscaping plan. Can we get in? Are you asking for a rendering of with the landscaping involved?
Do you have that?
No, we do not have that right now.
Plans you have it. You don't have that.
We don't have a rendering of it, no, sir.
Mrs. Sharon D. Nelson will make sure that there is appropriate greenage or greenery around this property, and make sure that it complies with what the city normally requires of businesses. And I know one concern that I had at work session was the fact that this is basically a windowless building for the most part, and fire department's going to make sure that there aren't any life safety issues before the building is constructed. Anything else?
Mr. President, real quick, I wonder if Mr. House could comment on the on how does the overlay district have different greenery requirements, or is that still falling under normal C2 requirements and the tree preservation ordinance and things like that?
The overlay district and the city landscape regulations are pretty much the same. 10% in the interior of the parking lot, 15-foot strip around all rights of way, and 8-foot strip along adjoining commercial parking lots.
And they'll have to submit plans that approve.
Yes, so the plan that he has up there on the board is their approved landscape plan. And obviously we have a detailed version of that which will stipulate the plant material, the sizes and all that.
Mr. House, coming from planning and zoning, were there any recommendations that P&Z had that were included with this project?
No, sir.
All right. Anything else from the council? From the audience? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? I have a motion. I didn't have that. Okay, I apologize. I said I'd have it right by January. Not quite here. Mr. Shaw?
Yes, sir.
I believe this is your opportunity to make a motion.
For the next set of hearings, or for the?
We need a motion to approve the conditional use.
Yes.
Oh, so we're actually,
Yes.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve the conditional use for Circus Tricks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. The following are going to be public hearings for Tuesday, January 17th. First, we have a request from Carmack Motion Pictures, Birmingham 3 LLC for conditional use for the approval and sale of retail beer and retail table wine at the theater located at 4450 Creekside Avenue. We have a similar request from Carmack for their facility at 801 Doug Baker Boulevard. They have a representative tonight. Is he planning on doing a presentation of any type?
We don't have a presentation, but we do have some additions that the council may enjoy.
Okay, well, you can come up and talk about it, and then we'll talk about it more on the 17th during the public hearing.
Sure. My name is Aaron Bowen. I reside at 1045 Marion Drive, Calera, Alabama. My name is Dominic Barone. I reside at 244 Thoroughbred Lane, Alabaster, Alabama. I've been the city manager for Carmack Cinemas over Birmingham, the area, for 2 years. Prior to that, Mr. Barone was the city manager for 2 years. He's now the district manager in Alabama. I manage supervise the general managers for the buildings located at Lee Branch, Patton Creek, the Discount Theater on Warren Road, the Summit 16 location, and Vestavia Hills. We're looking for alcohol licenses to serve beer and wine at the Patton Creek location in Lee Branch. We've been in discussions over the past month and a half between the ABC board and Carmack, and of course last week here at the City Council. We apologize we were unable to make the City Council meeting last week. We were here, but we were pulled away and arrived at the last minute. We are aware that there's some issues with the license and the approval and alcohol control plan. The ABC has requested of us to add an addition to our alcohol control plan, which I know there were some issues last time. You didn't want to deviate from that. So we wanted to make sure to be here tonight to let you know about those issues, and that includes adding wristbands to every alcohol sold. So every person who purchases a 16-ounce glass of beer or a 9-ounce glass of wine would receive a wristband. So they would be able to be tracked. If they're consuming alcohol, not wearing a wristband, then their ID is checked, and if they did not purchase that alcohol, someone gave it to them, then those people are ejected from the business. So I have a new updated control plan if you guys would like a copy.
Yes, and if you have enough, if you please provide one to the clerk.
I do have enough, yes, sir. I've circled the addition on the back page, it's number 18. Would anybody else like a copy? Sure, yes, ma'am. I would like to note,
This will be available as a part of tonight's minutes.
Yes, sir.
So obviously they will go up as quickly as the city clerk's office can get them up.
It is unchanged except for Article 18, for the item on there. I would like to note, I'm not sure, since I missed the meeting last time, and I do apologize for that. We do have over 60 locations throughout the company that have had licenses approved. Of course, we only have 2 locations in the state of Alabama, but including those locations in the company and in the state, we've had 0 incidents of issues with using similar plans such as this.
Does your partner have anything to add?
Sure.
No, so the 2 buildings that he's referring to, the Williams Hall 14 in Auburn, Alabama, we started serving beer and wine there pretty recently, in the last 30 days or so. The Chantilly 13 in Montgomery, we've been serving beer and wine since we opened that facility in August of 14. And we keep very strict logs of any incidents that occur in general, and we don't have any that are related to the sale of alcohol.
So if you have strict logs, there must be something that needed to have been written in them.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, for trip and fall incidents like that, but just for our internal records. We do have logs if people try to use an ID that's expired. We do note that and expired, and he was denied, just to make sure it don't stipulate in there.
Shaw, at P and Z, were there any supplements that planning and zoning wanted to include?
And that was one thing I wanted to bring up, Mr. President, that has to do, I know we're gonna have a hearing on this and everything, but with regard to how this policy works. In planning and zoning, the main concerns were underage drinking and some of the processes and procedures. And as part of the record, we obviously moved that, required that these policies be part of the conditional use.
Yes, sir.
There's a couple things that were discussed in the record that were not necessarily part of this, and I think it would probably be good if you included those, because they are in the record of planning and zoning, but I don't know that, I want to make sure they make it here. And my biggest concern in planning and zoning was that what we're saying now will actually be what happens a year from now, 2 years from now. We didn't want the standards changing. So,
Well, according to the alcohol control plan, it has to go through the ABC board to have the state license issued.
Mhm.
So then we have no deviation from that according to the state.
Right.
As well. And we were hoping to discuss with you all, there was some confusion last time about the tables used in the lobby for consumption. From our point of view, just from a customer service standpoint, if someone were to come in, they were to purchase alcohol as well as a ticket, and their movie wasn't ready, they would have no place to consume such, their beverage or anything like that without using those tables. So the wristbands we were hoping would be, another deterrent or a way to keep track of those people. If they were sitting at a table, they were drinking alcohol inside the business, then we would be able to see them. So we're hoping that we could actually still use those tables. Okay. So.
well, I won't go into the nitty gritty of whether or not the details of the plan. I just know that that was part of our approval in planning and zoning. So that table requirement was. The other two things that were discussed that I can recall.
Sure.
One drink per ID,
Yes,
this
sir.
sort of thing. Is that in this policy?
It is in the policy,
Okay.
1 drink per ID. Now, if a customer comes up with a group of people and they purchase 6 alcoholic beverages, every person in that group would have to have an ID
And be there to show it.
and be to show. Now, that one person can pay for all 6 beverages, but one drink per person per
Right,
ID.
make sure that,
legal age.
you know what happens to them. Which number is that under, do you know?
I don't know the specific number, but I can find it.
The other, okay, I'll review that again. And the other one was having a separate kiosk so that it's not just mixed in with all the purchase locations. So if you see somebody at that kiosk.
So in Patton Creek and Lee Branch, we have a main concession stand. And then we have 2 satellite concession stands. No alcohol would be sold out of the 2 satellite concession stands. It would be out of the main concession stand and would be from a set of registers that would have it available on there. So no other registers in that
So it
main
would be
concession stand.
designated. Is that in part of this policy as well?
I'm not sure if it's in there, but traditionally every location has a specific set of registers. Now, each register is able to sell it, but we generally don't open more than 1 register at a time. We have 2 registers set up, so if someone was coming in at a shift change and leaving, then we would have 2 registers so someone could leave and we couldn't count out the register and somebody else could come in.
So, Mr. President, I don't want to get into the details of things, but one thing I would definitely do is make sure this policy is complete.
Okay.
From my perspective, as we bring it to actual discussion, just because in planning and zoning, there were things on the record said, the table policy and some other things that were actually part of the motion, that are part of that record, but are not necessarily in this policy. And so I would definitely make sure that everything's in here. And if there's something not on here, like the table issue, I would definitely be prepared to talk about that and the implications of that.
Mr. House, do you recall any other additions that Mr. Shaw may have neglected?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Mr. President, I did have one addition. I was at that meeting with Mike. At that meeting, we asked about, I don't know if you asked, remember, about the demographics of ticket sales.
Yes, sir.
And having that information. Can we get that information to add to this packet?
Which demographics for ticket sales pertain?
Particularly, your ticket sales compared for children and adults and how that breaks down and how many are over age, underage.
I mean, we don't keep demographic data by age. Of course, the specific movie product that's out would dictate the age of the crowd. Moana opened last month. We had a higher volume of children and families in.
And a child ticket could be 12 or younger, and then children 2 and under are free, and an adult ticket would be 13 or older. So as far as demographic data goes, it would be very skewed because it's not by legal age.
So there's no way to determine how many patrons you have that are over 21 that would likely come with an alcohol.
No, sir. I can tell you traditionally at other locations, it's very small. It's generally just people coming in that they're going to see a movie that want, an added experience to their evening. We're not talking about a beverage that would be fiscally responsible to buy quite a many of, if I can put it so politically. This is not for someone who generally we do not have patrons come and buy many alcoholic beverages and get drunk and then go see a 2-hour movie. It just doesn't happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that it could not happen because anything can happen, but it does not happen. We have not had any issues throughout our company, and we haven't had any issues in the state.
Any other questions from the council?
Mr. President, and I'm assuming you shall be here on the
Yes, sir. We will.
Public hearing. I'm definitely always going to be pro-business. I think each city, I know you probably heard every pro and con about this topic,
Yes, sir.
but each city has a different culture. My
Yes, sir.
biggest thing has been council person. I'm going to listen to our public to see the direction that our public wants to want for the city.
Absolutely.
So just keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, we're in the business of serving the public, so obviously we would not bring this to the table if there weren't people in the public who requested it from us as well. There's a reason why these 2 locations were targeted, and it's because the general population that comes to them have requested it in the past.
Do you not also own a facility on Warner Road?
Yes, sir, we do. It's a discount theater.
If you're successful with this, do you plan on coming and asking for that location as well?
That likely not, but that would be a decision from our corporate headquarters. I can say that the movie theater on Lorna Road is a different type of theater as it runs second run movies. Traditionally, Carmike has not proceeded with alcohol implementation in their discount houses.
All right, well, thank you. As I said before, if anybody from the public has anything that they want to communicate to members of the council, please do so as early and as often as you'd like. Also set for a public hearing for January 17th is SB Development Corp. Requesting conditional use for the approval of a clubhouse pool. Mr. Corley, anything you'd like to add?
No, this is just to set the public hearing for that conditional use approval.
Mr. Johnson, do you have anything you'd like to?
Yes, sir.
Provide?
I'm Richard Johnson, representing SB Dev Corp. 3545 Market Street, Hoover, 35226. I'm here seeking conditional use approval of this plan, which is not, is that a better view?
You can turn to us and then at some point you can.
Yes, sir.
turn to the public.
You can block me. Come on here if you want to.
This is part of our Lake Wilburn community, which is located in Trace Crossing on the extension of Stadium Trace. The amenity center, as we call it, it includes a clubhouse, a pool, and a park. The site is approximately 4.6 acres. The building is approximately 5,500 square feet. The pool is approximately 3,400 square feet. There's 58 parking spaces provided. The plan was given favorable recommendation to council from the planning commission. We're seeking that conditional use approval to construct.
Okay. Any questions from the council? Mr. Shaw, do you recall any controversy with this?
That's pretty straightforward.
Very good. Possibly you can leave that up, so if members of the audience want to gander it real quick, they can do so right after the meeting.
Yes, sir.
A few minutes anyway.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Item D, Sheila Vaughn, owner of the property at 4670 Valleydale Road, requesting the property be rezoned from Shelby County A1 to Hoover C2. That will be a first reading at that time. So, well, you know, tonight is the first reading.
Yes,
Tonight is the first reading. So, Mr. Foley, do you have anything?
Yes, Mr. President, ordinance number 17-2318 rezones certain property located in Shelby County, Alabama at 4670 Valleydale Road to C2 Community Business District and amends ordinance number 263 of the Municipal Code of the City of Hoover, Alabama, subject to the annexation of such property into the city limits of the City of Hoover within 180 days of the initiation of annexation proceedings for such property as provided by law.
All right, do we have any questions from the council? I believe, Mr. Posey, this is gonna be under consideration from the annexation committee meeting that'll be right after tonight's council meeting.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, that's correct.
And I guess, Bob, if you could speak just momentarily about the law that adjusted a few years back that allowed the city to consider zoning issues prior to annexation.
Yes, sir. As you stated, the Alabama legislature passed an act several years ago that actually allows municipalities to zone property before it's annexed, and the zoning obviously is not effective until the property is annexed. So it allows the security for the city and the applicant to know that when the property is annexed, that the zoning that was previously approved obviously will be in effect. It takes the uncertainty out of the annexation first and then zone it later and see what happens. The applicant is here to make a presentation this evening.
Okay. Presentation? And if you would also, after the meeting, allow the public to have access to look at your maps as well for at least a few minutes.
All right, I'm Todd Thompson. I'm with Gonzalez Strength, 2176 Parkway Lake, Hoover, Alabama 35244. And I'm going to hand some of that to you guys too. These are all the same exhibits that are shown on the map here. We have the applicant here, Ms. Sheila Vaughn. She currently lives at the site. It's about 6.5 acres. It's on Valleydale Road. It's got one primary structure, a couple storage buildings, a mobile home, a barn. The site's located, it's about a half mile east of the intersection of Caldwell Mill Road and Valleydale Road. Valleydale Road is to the south of the property. Across the street to the south is the North Shelby Fire Department. There's a retail shop to the east of the property, and it is zoned Shelby County B2, and it was rezoned in the 90s to B2. Jeff State is to the north and to the west. It is zoned Hoover, office and institutional. And of course, we're requesting that our property be rezoned and annexed from A1 Shelby County to C2. Now, tonight and next year in January, subject to the zoning approval, it will begin a long process of not only the annexation, but coincidentally, all our uses are requiring conditional use. So there will be multiple looks from the city on what we're trying to do. Road widening is required for the project. We met with Shelby County Highway Department, and the shaded areas shown on your plan is what we have agreed upon during our preliminary discussions with Shelby County that we would do, and that would be to construct a center left-hand turn lane if you're headed east, and a deceleration lane on our side of the road if you're heading west. As far as interior roads, when we come into the property, there's really two options here. One is to cul-de-sac at the end of the property before the detention pond. The other one would be to provide interconnectivity to Jeff State and connect to the east and the west. We've met with Keith Brown with Jeff State. No guarantees yet, but we're exploring the options on how to best facilitate the new road that will be coming off of Valley Hill Road and provide some interconnectivity through his campus. Traffic, we've looked at preliminarily, we've looked at traffic using the trip generation manual, and we've estimated the following with the convenience store with gas pumps. Average vehicle trips in the morning, 172. Average vehicle trips in the afternoon, 160. For the specialty retail, which is the shopping center, the average vehicle trips in the morning is 65, and the average vehicle trips in the afternoon is 55. We do not plan on having a traffic signal at this point in the development. The traffic generated by what's on the front of the property, we don't feel like we warrant a signal. Shelby County and the city of Hoover, during our engineering, came up that we needed to look at the traffic. We would certainly look at it. We would hope that Shelby County would eventually provide the signal. We know that Valleydale has planned to be widened 3 lanes from Caldwell Hill, so we would work with them. Utilities, all the utilities are available at the front of the site along Valleydale Road, so we don't see any utility issues. Drainage, the site slopes from Valleydale Road to the back to a pond located on the property. And so we would use that pond for not only our detention, but for stormwater quality. You know, one of the key things that we feel about the convenience store and the shopping center is that it really has to be tastefully done, tastefully developed. We've included some renderings or some photos of the Greystone shell, which my client was involved in the development of that, and we would, you know, try to design to model the convenience store after that particular building. So I think that's it, unless you've got any questions.
Is Ms. Vaughn going to maintain her dwelling on the back of the property? So it's not subject?
No, it would be demolished. We'd take the property down, the whole property at the same time, and demolish it, so.
All right. Any questions from the council? All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you again on January 17th.
Thank you.
Payment of the bills, Mr. President.
Mr. Smith, I reviewed the bills and make a motion to be paid in one.
Make a motion in a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Comments and questions from the council?
Mr. President, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Well, if that's the case, we gotta put on our hats. Mr. Fulton has provided us with some merriment, not of any liquid form. Mayor, if you'd like to join us, it's up to you. Thank you, Mr. Fulton.
Mayor?
Anything else from the council?
Mr. President, I would say one thing, now that we're suitably dressed, to discuss serious things like the municipal court. Ms. Fuquay is there. She's a magistrate that kind of runs our municipal court. And this last week, I had an opportunity to actually visit the court and hang out from about 2:30 to, I don't know, how late was it? It was very late. And the only words I can come up with to describe our court is a well-oiled justice machine. They had a huge amount of cases that they went through very expeditiously, very methodically. And I guess the thing that impressed me the most was they really gave every case the time and the weight. Just from observing, I had to overhear. It took me a while to figure out what was going on because so much was happening, but I was just really impressed with how thorough they were with each case. And our municipal court is something to be proud of, and I was really appreciative to see that. And I would highly recommend any other council members sometime over the next 4 years, if you have an opportunity to sit through some cases and just watch it, I highly recommend it. It's something to be proud of for Hoover. I think it's something that we're admired for.
And having a good judge, especially one that wrote the book on municipal courts, basically helps as well. I'd also like to recognize some people in attendance. We have former council member Joe Reeves. Thank you for being here, sir. For some unknown reason, we have 2 members of the school board, President Stephen Presley and Mr. Craig Kelly. Thank you for attending. Any other comments or questions for the council? No? Anything from the audience? Oh, Robin, that was quick.
Let's keep the hats on while I take a picture.
I figured you'd have the drone out there.
It's outside. Thank you.
My name is Robin Schultz. I'm at 348 Albemarle Drive in Hoover. Beginning in June of 2015, I came to this council to ask for some help in a property that we have in Bluff Park by the name of Shades Mountain Plaza. Shades Mountain Plaza is owned by 4 owners, which might as well be no owners at all, because none of them accept responsibility for any part of it. I took to a avenue that has helped me in the past, which is the internet, and I formed a website where I showed the opportunities that Galden Incorporated had in making their side of the property better than it was before. Mr. Galden made some adjustments and made it look better, but it still had some opportunities. One of the focuses of of that particular shopping center was a Mexican restaurant called El Gringo. We'd worked very hard over the previous 10 years to get a restaurant like that into Bluff Park, and we finally got it in November of 2014, yet the landlord was not keeping his end up on it. Today El Gringo closed, and they closed without notice. I talked to the owner last week, and he said that that was a possibility. And the closing, I think, is part to blame on several factors. Part of it is the community going to the restaurant. Part of it is the landlord keeping up the place. And part of it, we're going to ask for some help from the city. In tonight's meeting, we heard from Greystone in that they have a say-so as to what type of businesses go into where they live. They actually have a voice. We heard a business that wants to build on Valleydale Road that wants to make it look, in their words, tasteful. We don't have that in Bluff Park. We don't have a community association like Greystone and like the other developments where we have a voice. You're our voice. We're going to ask for your help in making Bluff Park, certain parts of it, where the landlords really don't care. And that's what Shades Mountain Plaza looks like right now. It's they don't care. We go, we bring them to their attention, they say they're going to do something, they put a fresh coat of paint on it, but they continue not to care. I'm going to ask for your help in making them care. We want businesses in Bluff Park. We want to live, love, and shop, not only in Hoover, but in Bluff Park. We've got some great businesses there, but they have nothing to fall back on. So what I'm going to ask for is that if we get another business there, if we get more businesses, we want the place to look nice. And we want the council and the city to enforce whatever ordinance there is to make it look decent. We do want to look like River Chase. We do want to look like Greystone. We want to look like Ross Bridge. We're Bluff Park. We're different. We're the oldest community, but that doesn't mean we have to look like the oldest community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Mr. Singer?
Arnold Singer, 613 River Haven Place. Next meeting is going to be 2017. 2017 is very important because it marks the 50th anniversary of the founding of the city of Hoover as a community. I'm a member of the board of the Hoover Historical Society, and I've spoken to each of you and the mayor and mentioned one of the projects that we would like would be pictures of each of you from the time you were little tykes to where you are now, so that we can create some exhibits that will show the human side of the people who we've elected to represent us. And I will personally come and pick up the pictures from you. We will make copies of them and return them to you because we realize those pictures are very important to you. So as your first New Year's resolution, please remember, put together the pictures. You see me all around, you know where I am. I'll come and get them and make the copies. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa.
Arnold, are you sure that you want a picture of Mr. Green on Bearskin Road?
Maybe we'll make it a deer skin.
Anything else from the audience? Once again, we would like to say Merry Christmas and all the other renditions that Mr. Singer properly provided. Happy New Year. Next year, Hoover has an opportunity to do many great things. And I think with the mayor that's in place now and the people that sit with me on the council, we're in a position to make a difference that is going to be positive for decades to come. And just know that we're going to be hard at work for y'all. And if you ever have anything that you want to inquire about, as long as it's worded tastefully, we'll probably give you a really good answer. So with that, anything else from the council? Nothing? We're adjourned.